Hi guys, this is Manas, and in this part, we're going to discuss if statements and indentation. So let's get started. So here's a small Python script I put together, and what it basically does is it checks your knowledge of indentation. So before I utter anything else, I want everyone to try out what the output of this program will be. And yes, your time starts now. So I'm hoping everybody has tried out the output. And let's go ahead and run this first. Okay, so this is the output. So before we just look at the output, let's look at the code. So the first if statement says if k is greater than 23. Now obviously 90 is greater than 23, so it enters. Now all this stuff, not only this part, the part that is indented, you see at least this much of indentation. And I'm noting the word at least. As long as it has this much of indentation, it belongs to this if statement. Okay, so now k is greater than 23. Great, we enter this code. Now next if statement is if L is greater than 20. Is 80 greater than 20? Yes. So now what the indentation follows is this part, this everything which has a minimum indentation of this much. So this line has, this line has, this line has, and I won't draw it, but all these lines have a minimum indentation of at least this much. So all these lines are now part of both this if statement as well as this if statement. Now let's head to the other if statement, the nested if L is greater than 90. Now is L greater than 90? No. So now what do we do? Do we print this out? Do we print 1? No, because L is not greater than 90. We will print out the else part, which is a 4. So that's the first output, as you guys can see. Now, like after running through this code, it runs this code, which is the if W less than 50 and R greater than 35. So is W less than 50? Yes. And is R greater than 35? Yes. So it will print out 5. And as you can see, that's the next output. Now, will it print out this else? And which if does this else belong to? Now, this else will belong to the if with the same amount of indentation. Now, you notice that this if has this much of indentation, and so this else will also belong to this if, and this else will belong to this if. All right. So it will not print out 6 because it has already run through the if and this part is true. This statement is correct. So now it will come back, and as you can see, what is this part? I've just left a line, but this is just part of, one second, why is this? Uh, wow, my keyboard's not working. But anyways, this print statement is part of this else statement, right? Because it comes after the indentation. This indentation is a little more than this indentation. So these two statements are part of this else. And so since only this if was true, it's not going to print out these two print statements. So as you can see, neither 6 nor 2 is printed out in the console. So now after running through this, we come to this line. Now, simple to understand which ifs or else statement this print statement belongs to, let's look at the indentation. Now, as you can see, the indentation is only this much. So it belongs to this big if of this one. Not to this if, not to this if. This, everything that belongs inside this if will be this stuff, which will have one greater layer of indentation than this if already has. All right, so it will print out 3 as you can see, and then this print statement has no indentation or is independent of any of this code that is mentioned over here. All right, so now we've learned about if statements and else statements. There's another statement called the else if statement. So let's dig deeper and understand what that is. So let's say you want to find out what your friend's favorite color is. All right. So you create some variable s and you say that's the input, and you say, hey friend, enter your favorite color. All right, my spellings Okay, so now this will input S, which is your friend's favorite color. And let's say you're making this sort of pastry for your friend. So, and it depends on his favorite color. So if he enters black, maybe you could make a chocolate pastry. And you might have guessed it. If he enters white, you make a vanilla pastry. But let's say if he enters orange, you make an orange pastry. So how would we originally do it? We would say if S is black, we would say print black forest. Okay. Else, actually, you can't put an else here, right? Because if it's not a black, that means it's whatever, the vanilla. But like I said, he might have an interest in the flavor of orange, or he might like the color orange. So else does not, satisfy this condition very well. So the statement that helps us over here is else if. So what that statement essentially means is if is not true, then the else if will be related to this if, and you could say S is equal to white, right? And then you could say print out you like vanilla ice cream. Okay, so this is the basic meaning of the else if statement. If the if block is not executed, but you don't want it to go to the else, in the sense it should not be this or something else, it should be this, something like you could have, I don't know, purple, pink, other colors, and then an else, right? So if you have all those different conditions and not just two conditions, if and else, that's why you use the condition else if. Now, the syntax of writing else if is wrong, and you write elif. You see, Python likes to make everything small and concise. So now I can make another elif statement saying S is equal to purple. He might like, I don't know, red velvet. And else if S is equal to yellow, um, your friend might just like some mangoes, right? But let's say it's none of these. So then you can tell your friend, hey, sorry friend, I don't have anything you may like. Alright, so now if we run this program, first it asks us for our favorite color. So let's say we like purple, and you can see it prints out red velvet. That was the print statement associated with the condition of S equal to purple. So this is just a small addition to the if else blocks that we've already discussed. So now let's write a really complex program which doesn't make much sense, but it will help you understand if statements, else if statements, and the indentation as an all-in-one program. So I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to quickly write this program for all of you. Alright, so just as before, try out what the output of this program is. And now let's discuss it. I hope you've all tried it out. Now let's discuss before we run the output. So now, yeah, let's do it that way. So the first condition is k greater than 45. Yes, 90 is greater than 45. Okay. And so what is the indentation for this? Nothing. So that means all this stuff with at least this much of indentation will be part of this big if statement. I will call this if statement 1 will have all these conditions or all these statements under it. This statement is outside all of this if. Okay, so now we've reduced that. So now let's look at the next one. If L is equal to 89, is L equal to 89? No. So we don't need to consider anything inside this if statement, right? So we will skip through all of this stuff. Boom, 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 gone. Because all this stuff is inside which if statement? Inside this if statement, right? So it will only print out this statement and this statement, because all these statements were inside this L is equal to 89 statement, which was false, right? So now let's confirm that the answer is in fact 11 and 12, and there we go. That's the output. Now I'm going to make a small modification and make L equal to 80. So now let's see what happens. All right. So now if L is equal to 80, it will print out 1. So we can actually just make a small note of what the output is. So it will print out 1, and then it will check, is L greater than 80? Is L greater than 80? Well, no. L is equal to 80. So will it print true or 2? No, it will not. Is L less than 80? No. So will it print 3? Nope. Else. Now see, here we use the else if statement where we said if L is greater than 80, else if L is less than 80, and now finally else, which basically implies if L is equal to 80. The same statement is done by this else statement. Okay, so this else statement we know is going to be true, so it's going to print out 4. So it's going to print out 4. Now there's another if statement inside of this else statement. All right. So what does this if statement say? If W plus R, which is 23 plus 56, and if my maths is not wrong, that should be 79. Is 79 less than 80? Yes, that is less than L, which is 80. So it will enter that. Oh, and inside this if, we have another if, which is if W is greater than R. Is W greater than R? No, it's not. So will it print this? It will not print that. And it will print the else part, which is going to be a 6. So the next output will be a 6. And then after that, so these two statements were part of this if, correct? And sorry, all these three statements were part of this if. This print statement and this print statement were respectively part of this if and this else. So now this print 7 belongs to this if statement, which is true. So it will print out the 7. And now the else part will not get executed. So this statement will not be printed out. And this print 9 is belonging to this else over here, which is correct. So it will print out 9. And this print 10 belongs to, let's see, this if, which is also true. So it will print out 10, and then it will print out 11 and 12, just as before. So now let's see, these are our predictions for the output. Let's see if that's correct. Okay, 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and learned the importance of indentation and the three different types of if statements: if, else if, and else. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.